Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So in our last episode, we completed the homepage design. And if we come back to our Trello board, we are done with this task. So we can move it to done and we can drag this to doing. And this task involves designing the single block page. And if we come back to Figma, we can take a look at what we'll be designing. So here is what it looks like. It's quite straightforward. So with that said, we can come back to our code and start designing. So within our app, we are going to be creating a dynamically accessible route. So what I mean by that is to access the single block page, we are going to be using the block slug, and this is going to be dynamic. So I'm emphasizing on that because the way to do this is quite special. So we're going to open the app folder, and here we're going to create a folder. And in this folder, the name structure is going to be like this. And the slug is going to be the key here. So note that the slug is covered or wrapped with two square brackets. So that's something to note. And for those of us coming from the old version of Next, we find out that the way we do this is to just have the same name structure, but for a file. But in the new version of Next.js, everything is being done within a folder. So every page you're going to have is going to be within a folder. And to create the index for this folder, we're just going to have page.tsx. So with that done, let's quickly block out the structure. Alright, so here's the structure of our single block. And before we do anything next, let's quickly access this single block page. So coming back to the browser, you can access this by having blog-1 like that. And we access it. And as you can see, we get the single block contents. So coming back to our code. So for this new version of Next.js, as you can see here, you have a layout.tsx file. And we've already established what that does. So the same thing is applicable for every new page you create. So by default, this layout.ts file is available throughout all the pages. But if you want to override the flow or the way it works, you can create a layout.tsx file for your single page and adjust it the way you want it. But we are good with what we have and we won't bother about that. So the next thing to note is that for our single block page, let's go back to the UI design once again. This is the way it's structured. So again, we are going to have the header and we are going to have two sections. One for the content and the other for the comments. So that's just something to note. So coming back here, again, we are going to bring in the header. And if we go back to the browser and check this out, we'll have the header again. So the next part is to create our layout and structure. So just like we did with the home page, we are going to also have the same structure for the single block page because it's closely related. So on that note, we are going to create the single block layout class just like we have with the home page. And within the layout, we are going to have sections for component as well. So before we delve into that, we can come back to our components folder and create a folder for the single page as well. And within here, we want to create two components. One is going to be for the content and the other is going to be for the comments. So I'll quickly just block out the structure for the content and duplicate for the comments. So here's the structure for the content and we can just duplicate this for the comments. Alright, so here is the comments. So back into our page. In here we want to have two sections. One is going to be the contents. And the other section is going to contain the comments. Alright, so now we have the structure that we want. And if we come back to our browser, we can take a look at how they look. So just like we did with our home page, I will go ahead and style it so that we have the structure we want before we start putting in the content. Alright, so here is my settings for the single block layout. So for the template column, I have 2 FR, 1 FR. So what that means is the content is taking 2/3 of the whole page. So if we come back to this, we are going to see the layout. However, if we come back to the UI, we'll find out that this is not taking all the space. So we can control that by having a maximum width for the content itself. Also, I think we'll need to give some space from the top. So we can come back here and have a margin top of 20 pixels. I think 20 would be great in this case. Alright, so that's better. So now with the layout set up, we can proceed to now blocking out the contents. So here I'm going to give this a class name of, and if we come back to the UI, this is the structure. So we have the tech and we have the created app beside it. So we can have that as well. And we've done this already within the block. So again, we can just copy the top contents here. Okay, so we are going to need structure for the single block content as well. And I can as well just come to the home page and copy one from our lists. So I'll just take this. That means this is going to require a block of type iBlock. And now that's fixed. So the next part of our structure is going to be the title. So here we're going to have h2. I think that would do. And for the h2, we are going to have, and finally, we are going to have the p tag. And within our p tag, we are going to have, actually, we don't need this content here. It's going to be coming from the home page. So we can as well just remove it. So back to the home page, we are going to have this here. Block content. So again, we are going to import the interface. And in here, we are going to spread out the block content. However, in this case, we don't have a content. So we'll come back to our UI and copy one. All right, so here's the content. And if we go back to our page and preview this, we have this. So this is structurally okay. However, the UI is not impressive. So we are going to adjust this. So coming back into our code, we can come back to the content and target the single content. And we want to have that within the single block layout. So I'm going to be copying some of the classes we've already designed. So I'll come back to the block card and copy the top section. Then also I'll come back to the block card and copy the h3 and the p tag. So we're going to adjust the h3 to fit the h2. So for the h2 in this case, is going to have a maximum width of 500. So let's increase that a little bit. Then also the single content is going to have a maximum width in itself of 800 pixels. Let's see how that looks. So we can remove the margin button from here. I think the margin button set by the h2 itself is enough. Then finally, the p tag can be like this. I think that works. So let's take a look at how this looks. So I think that works. However, the issue we are having here is that we do not have paragraph. And also our content is going to come in as an HTML content. So we have to format that the way it should be. So quickly, I'm going to set up how the structure is going to be in form of HTML, and I'll paste it back and we'll see what it looks like. Alright, so I've structured the content to include the necessary HTML tags, as you can see here. And this is what I'm going to copy and paste within my content. So I'll come back here and paste this here. However, an issue we're going to have here is that this is not going to format. And as you can see, the whole thing is coming out just as a string. And a way to fix this already exists within React, and that is using dangerously set in our HTML. So if we come back to the content, so in here, we're no longer using the p tag, even though the setting is there. We're going to leave it like that. So here we're just going to have a div and have this as dangerously set in our HTML. So this is going to be two braces. It's going to have underscore HTML. Then we're going to have the blog.content. Then finally, we can close up our div. So now that we've done this, let's take a look at what it looks like. And as you can see, it is more structured now, and it's looking much more like it. So that's it in regards to the content side of the single block page. Now we can proceed to the comment side. And if we come back to the UI, the comment side is just this section. So we're going to have the top section, and we're going to have the list of comments. So coming to the comment component. So the comment component is going to take in the slug. So we're going to have this slug of type string. We get the slug. And I'm doing this way because we are going to be fetching the comment content from here, and it's going to be through the client side. However, the single block content is going to be fetched through the server side. So I'm going to talk more about that when we get to that section. So here we're going to have a class name for comments section. And again, the comment section is going to have a top section. And within that top is where we want to have the title as well as the add button. So let's take a look at the UI once again. So the counter and the title are together. So here we can have the title. And for the title, I'm going to use an H4. And this is going to be comments or comments. Let's just have it as comments. Then here I'm going to have dot counter. And this is 24 as shown in the UI design. Then finally, we want to have a button to add our contents. So the top section is going to be demarcated by a border button, and we've done that before. Then finally, once we've done that, we can list out our comment contents. So to do that, let's first check out the comment card. We've already designed that, and here is the interface. So that means we are going to need the data for this. And that should be quite straightforward. Let's come back here and define the data for that. Alright, so that's the structure we need. And in here, we can as well do what we've done before. So instead, I'll actually come back to the blog list and just copy this. So 5 comments, I'm going to have the comment card. Now spread out the comment data. Alright, so we are good with the comments. So if we come back to our UI, we'll see the structure we have. And it's looking nice already. However, we need to style the top section of our comments, and we are going to space out the comments themselves. So again, I'm going to play around with the styling to see what the top section is going to come out as. So I'll just take the comment section, and from there, I'm going to play around. Alright, so here is what I came up with after several minutes playing around, and you find out that this structure is a bit funky. And that's because there is a top class within our block, or rather the comment card itself. And whatever settings we made to the top is affecting it. So I actually made the settings to adjust the padding and the spacing between the header and the content itself. And this is what it became. And one way to fix this is to just go back to the comment section and change this to top section. So that means it's not going to align with what we have within the comment card any longer. And with that, we can come here and change this top to dash top section. And let's take a look at what this looks like. So now this is more or less like it. So it looks like the spacing from the button to the border is too much, so we can reduce that. So we are controlling that with padding. So I'll just remove the padding entirely. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, I think that's more or less like it. So all we have to do now is just give the comment itself some spacing. And as we can see from the UI design, here is the structure for that. So we've done this already. So because the comment card does not have a different variation, we are not using it in any other part, it's just going to be here. We can make this control be on the comment card itself. So in here, I'm just going to paste the information or the structure. And here we can check for the last shout. And we can set that to border bottom none. Okay, let's see what this looks like. And here is what we have. And it looks good. So there you have it, guys. Here is our single block page. And that will be all for today. See you in the next one. Bye for now.